Okay, so welcome all. So today we will discuss another topic uh, that is importance of protein and classification. As we know, proteins are one of the most prominent major macromolecules which are used for the basic metabolism both for the plants and for the human beings. They are very good source of energy. They are called as basically building blocks of the body. Okay, and all genetic changes and gene expression studies are also related to proteins. No doubt, fats have more energy per kilocalorie, but proteins have their different place because they are most prominent and most diverse group of macromolecules present in our body. Okay, so we will study about what are proteins, how we can classify proteins, and what is the functions of proteins in this lecture. So now today, first of all, we will discuss what are amino acids. As you know that proteins are made up of amino acids. So amino acids are the basic unit of proteins. Because why we call it amino acid? Because they contain NH2 as one functional group and acid as another second functional group. Okay, because they contain one amino group as one group and carboxylic acid as another group. That's why they are called as amino acids. NH2 for amino and COOH for acid. The general formula for amino acid is H2N CHR COOH. Okay, the general formula for amino acid is H2N CHR COOH. It contains both basic and acidic group. Now see this R in between. This R is the carbon atom. So the carbon atom at which both the functional groups are attached. The carbon atom at which both the functional groups are attached, they are called as alpha carbon atom. Okay, they are called as alpha carbon atom. And these amino acids are known as alpha amino acids. Okay, and these amino acids are known as alpha amino acids. Right, so amino acids are the basic unit of proteins. They contain one amino group and acidic group. The general formula of amino acid is NH2N CHR COOH. So the carbon atom at which both the functional groups are bonded, they are called as alpha carbon atom, and such amino acids are called as alpha amino acids. Right? Then we come to about different kinds of amino acids, how they are abbreviated or how they are denoted by single letter. See, some of the amino acids are denoted by their first word of pronunciation, but some other amino acids they have different abbreviation. Okay, so like alanine is denoted by A, arginine is starting from A but represented by R, asparagine by 9N, aspartic acid by D, cysteine for C, glutamine for Q, glutamic acid as denoted as E, glycine G, histidine H, isoleucine I, leucine L, lysine K, methionine M, phenylalanine F, proline P, serine S, threonine T, tryptophan W, tyrosine Y, valine V, asparagine B, glutamine or glutamic acid Z. Out of them, phenylalanine, tryptophan and tyrosine, they are considered as aromatic amino acids. Why they are called aromatic? Because they are connected with some benzene ring, or they have some ring-like structure. On that, some functional group is attached. So phenylalanine, tryptophan, and tyrosine, they are called as aromatic amino acids. Okay, phenylalanine, tryptophan, and tyrosine, they are called as aromatic amino acids. Okay. So each amino acid has been denoted by a single capital letter. So we should know the name of this different. So amino acids are classified into different ways based on their polarity, structure, and nutritional requirement. Okay, amino acids are classified into different ways based on polarity, structure, and nutritional requirements. Right? So based on the polarity, there are different kinds of amino acids. Okay. Now, amino acids based on their polarity, amino acids are classified into different groups. Based on polarity, amino acids are classified into different groups. First group is what? Non-polar amino acids. First group is non-polar amino acids. It means what? These amino acids, they are not dissolved in water. They are not dissolved in water. Second group is polar amino acids with no charge. See, certain proteins bear certain charge because they have acidic group and amine group. So there are some amino acids which don't have any charge. They are neutral in nature. Okay. So third category comes those amino acids which are having positive charge. Okay. Third groups are amino acids which are having positive charge. And fourth group, those amino acids which are having negative charge. Those amino acids which are having negative charge. So amino acids are classified based on those with polar group or non-polar group. The non-polar side chain are called hydrophobic and the polar is called hydrophilic. Okay, hydrophobic means which cannot dissolve in water and hydrophilic which can easily dissolve in water. So basically based on that there are these four kinds of amino acids. Non-polar amino acids, polar amino acids with no charge, polar amino acids with positive charge, polar amino acids with negative charge. Okay, so these are the four categories of different amino acids. Now, we will discuss about first group, non-polar amino acids, or we are discussing about hydrophobic and aliphatic amino acids with R groups. The non-polar amino acids have equal number of amino and carboxyl groups. Okay, non-polar amino acids have equal number of amino and carboxyl groups. So, as a result, they are neutral. Okay, as a result, they are very neutral. Right? Because they don't have both the positive charge and negative charge, which they becomes the molecule neutral. Second point, these amino acids are hydrophobic and they have no charge on the R group, means they are not dissolved in water. So those amino acids which belong to this group, they are alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, phenylalanine, glycine, tryptophan, methionine, and proline. So there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 amino acids are there, which are categorized under this category. So these are what? These are alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, phenylalanine, glycine, tryptophan, methionine, and proline. Okay, so these are the amino acids which are categorized under non-polar amino acids. Okay, then we discuss about we are seeing the structure of these amino acids. These are the structure of glycine. It is called a simplest amino acid. Okay, so when this H is replaced by CH3, when this H is replaced by CH3, it is called as alanine. Okay, and when some another amino group is attached on this alanine, it becomes valine. Okay, and when you add extra CH2 in valine, When we will add this extra CH2 in valine, it becomes leucine. It becomes what? Leucine. And then its isomer is isoleucine. Terminal is same, upper side is same, only the change is here. Removal of one methyl group and one hydrogen ion. So it is called as isoleucine. So this side chains of all these amino acids are important in promoting hydrophobic interactions within protein structure. Because protein are basically classified in primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary structure. Primary structure is based on these amino acids. So these side chains are important in promoting hydrophobic interactions with protein structures. Okay. So we can see from this diagram, this is very different amino acids. Okay. Then comes those amino acids which are dissolved in water and which do not have any charge. Okay. Next category comes polar amino acids which don't have any charge. These amino acids do not have any charge on R group. These amino acids do not have any charge on R group. Okay. And these amino acids participate in hydrogen bonding of protein structure. These amino acids participate in hydrogen bonding of protein structure. Okay, so these amino acids participate in hydrogen bonding of protein structure. So the amino acids in this group are serine, threonine, tyrosine, cysteine, glutamine, and asparagine. Okay, the amino acids in this group are serine, threonine, tyrosine, cysteine, glutamine, and asparagine. So total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So the amino acids in this group are serine, threonine, tyrosine, cysteine, glutamine, and asparagine. These three amino acids are categorized under polar amino acids with no charge. Okay. Then we discuss about polar uncharged R groups. Okay, then we discuss about polar uncharged R groups means these are the structure. It is the structure of serine. When we add extra C group, it becomes threonine. When we add sulfide groups, it becomes cysteine. Then these are asparagine and these are glutamine. Both asparagine and glutamine are same, but when we will add extra CH2 group in asparagine, it becomes glutamine. Okay, when we add extra CH2 group in asparagine, it becomes glutamine. These are their structures of polar uncharged amino acid groups. So total how many? 5 to 6 amino acids are categorized under this category. Okay, then we reach to about aromatic amino acids. I told you about phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. Why these are called as aromatic amino acids? Because they are attached with the benzene ring. Okay, because they are attached with the benzene ring. Okay. So, what is the difference between phenylalanine and tyrosine? What is the difference between phenylalanine and tyrosine? When we attach the hydroxyl group, okay, when we attach the hydroxyl group on this ring, so when addition of OH group in the phenylalanine, it will make tyrosine. Okay. And then addition of C double bond CH NH. Addition of C double bond CH NH. Upper structure is same. They will form tryptophan. What they will form? They will form tryptophan. Okay. What they will form? They will form tryptophan. So these are three amino acids which are categorized under aromatic amino acids. So name is phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. Then we discuss about those amino acids which are dissolved in water and their net charge is positive. Their overall charge is positive. So that are polar amino acids with positive charge have more amino groups as compared to carboxyl group, obviously, because NH2 group is having positive charge and acidic group is having negative charge. So if NH2 group is more in quantity, the overall charge will be positive. So these amino acids have more amine group as compared to carboxyl group. So those amino acids which are positive charge on R group are categories under this category. So there are only 3 amino acids which are placed under this category. That are lysine, arginine, and histidine. They are lysine, arginine, and histidine, which are called as polar amino acids with positive charge. Means overall content of amine group is more than the overall content of the acidic group. Okay, overall amine group is more as compared to acidic group. So, what will happen? Their nature will be basic. Why? Because amine is basic in nature and acidic is negative in nature. So, those amino acids which are positively charged, they will be basic in nature. While those amino acids which are negative in charge, they will be acidic in nature. So, we can see that here overall charge is positive in alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. How many plus are there? 1 and 2. Negative is only 1. So overall charge is plus 1. These groups includes lysine, arginine and histidine, who are basic in nature and they have more positive charge. So there are 3 amino acids which are categorized under this category. Then we will discuss about polar amino acids which are having negative charge. Here the scenario will be reversed. More acidic group and less amine group. Okay, more acidic group and less amine group is there. So what will happen? Overall charge will be negative. And these amino acids will be acidic in nature. Because why? Acidic is more as compared to basic. So they are called as dicarboxylic monoamino acids. They are also called as amino acids which are polar with negative charge. They are also called as dicarboxylic monoamino acids. They are aspartic acid and glutamic acid. Okay, they are aspartic acid and glutamic acid. These are the 2 examples of these 2 amino acids. Okay, they are called as what? Aspartic acid and glutamic acid. Okay, right? So they include these 2 categories. They are called as negatively charged amino groups. So basically they include these 2 types of amino acids. Which one? Aspartate and glutamate. Okay, these include these 2 groups which are called as aspartate and glutamate. So the 2 amino acids with acidic R groups are aspartic acid and glutamic acid. So we can say that those amino acids where more negative charges there, they are called as negatively charged amino acids and acidic charged amino acids. So these are mainly 2 examples of this kind of amino acid, aspartate and glutamate. Okay. Then this was the first criteria of classification of proteins. Now we'll describe proteins based on the availability of amino acids. Okay, next criteria is basically based on the availability of amino acids. So I told you that there are a lot of criteria there for the classification of amino acids. First was based on charge and based on solubility, and second is based on availability of amino acids. Okay. So based on availability, we will classify amino acids for 2 types. that is essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. So what are essential amino acids? Essential amino acids are amino acids that are cannot be synthesized by our body. Okay, essential amino acids are those amino acids which are not synthesized by our body. They are synthesized by leucine. They are synthesized by leucine. Non-essential amino acids, they are amino acids that can be synthesized by the body. They are these amino acids which are synthesized by the body. There are 11 non-essential amino acids, 9 essential and 11 non-essential. Recently, selenocytine is called as new discovered amino acid. Okay, so there are 11 non-essential amino acids which are synthesized by the body. Example is alanine. While which are not synthesized, they are called as essential amino acids. We obtain this from the nutrition, from the food items. Example is leucine. An example of non-essential is alanine. Then comes, see, we will see this diagram. These are the examples of essential amino acids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are non-essential. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So example of essential are histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, valine. What are these? Histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, valine. Example of non-essential: alanine, arginine, asparagine, aspartic acid, cysteine, glutamic acid, glutamine, glycine, proline, serine, and tyrosine. The total there are 20. One is proline, which is called as amino acid, not amino acid. We'll discuss later on about that. Proline is called as amino acid, IMINO, not amino acid, because it disturbs the structure of protein. So it is not a good amino acid for protein. And recently, new amino acid called as selenocysteine, it has been discovered. So according to the synthesis, there are two types: essential and non-essential. Well, proline and selenocytine are two exceptions. Okay. So based on this, we have classified this is the second criteria. Now we talk about zwitter ions. Okay. We know that amino acid contains both positive charge and negative charge. So when amino acids are dissolved in water, they exist as inner salt. They form salt-like structure because they contain both positive and negative charge. So it exists as inner salt when dissolved in water because they contain both positive and negative charge. Why there is a formation of zwitter ion? So these amino acids which are having both positive and negative charges are called as zwitter ions. Those amino acids which are having both positive and negative charge are called as zwitter ions. Why they occur? How they form? See, they occur as a result of dissociation of carboxyl group. Means COH group is dissociated, then they will release H plus ion. This H plus ion is transferred towards the amino group. Means from the COOH group, H ion will transfer to the NH2 group. Then it becomes NH3 plus and CO minus. NH3 plus and CO minus. So amino acid will have both charge, positive and negative. So those amino acids which possess both charge, they are called as deuterion. Okay, those amino acids which are having both charges, positive and negative, they are called as deuterions. Since it is having both the charges, since it is having both the charges, positive and negative, the net charge of deuterion is 0. Okay, the net charge of deuterion is 0. So we can say that deuterion is neutral. They don't have any kind of charges. Okay, then we discuss about amphoteric nature of amino acids. What do we mean by the amphoteric nature of amino acids? So amino acids, they are amphoteric compounds. Why amphoteric? Because they contain both acidic groups and basic groups. Okay, they contain both acidic group and basic group. I told you negatively charged amino acids are acidic, while positively charged amino acids are basic. But when they dissolve in a solution, the charge will be opposite. So in acidic solution, when the solution is acidic, so there will be a positive charge. Means when the pH is less than 7 or more CH group is there, they will carry positive charge. Don't get confused. What I told, those amino acids which are having amino acids which are negatively charged, they are acidic amino acids. Means their native form is negatively charged and acidic. But when they are dissolved in water, so they will form the solution. Then solution, they will carry positive charge. In alkaline solution, the amino acids carry negative charge. Okay, in alkaline solution, the amino acids carry negatively charged. Okay, so in acidic solution, amino acids carry positive charge, and in alkaline solution, amino acids carry negative charge. Okay, so the point at which the deuterion has no net charge is called as isoelectric point. It means that point at which deuterion is neutral. It do not have any net charge. It do not have any net charge. It is called as isoelectric point. Okay, as we know that deuterion is what? Which are having both positive and negatively charged. So they will cancel each other. So overall charge is 0. So they are neutral. Means if the deuterion is neutral, that point up to which they remain neutral is called as isoelectric point. Okay. Then we discuss about some physical properties of amino acids. What is their behavior of amino acids? All amino acids are white crystalline substance. Okay, all amino acids basically they are available in the commercial form in a white small powder. So they are available as white crystalline substance. Okay. Most of the amino acids, I told them they belongs to polar group. Only one group is non-polar. So most of them they are dissolved in water and insoluble in non-polar solvent. Because what is the concept of solution? Polar dissolve in polar, non-polar dissolve in non-polar. So most of them they are soluble in water and insoluble in polar solvent. Which are the non-polar organic solvent? Chloroform and ether. So non-polar amino acids can easily dissolve in non-polar solvents, but polar amino acids will dissolve in polar amino acids only, in polar solvent only. Next point, aliphatic and aromatic amino acids, which are having several carbon atoms. If the number of carbon atoms is more, then aliphatic and aromatic amino acids, they are having several carbon atoms. So what is the issue? They have limited solubility in water. They have limited solubility in water, but readily soluble in polar organic solvents. Because polar organic solvents like ethanol, methanol, okay, because water has the maximum polarity, we know that. After that it comes methanol and ethanol. So aliphatic and aromatic amino acids, which possess several carbon atoms, they have limited solubility in water, but they are easily dissolved in polar organic solvents. And what are polar organic solvents? Ethanol, methanol. Then next point, the amino acids have very high melting point and boiling point. So their melting point is vary from 200 to 300 degrees centigrade or even more. Okay, so melting point and boiling point of amino acids are very high. That is about 200 to 300 degree centigrade. After that, what I told, they are tasteless. They don't have any taste. They might be sweet in taste. They might be bitter in taste. So they are tasteless, sweet or bitter. Okay. So these are the main physical properties. I will repeat once again. They are white crystalline substance, appears white powder, crystalline shape, generally soluble in water, but some are not soluble in water. They will soluble where? Only in the chloroform and ether. Then aliphatic and aromatic amino acids having several carbon atoms have limited solubility in water. They have limited solubility in water, but they are easily dissolved in polar organic solvent. After that, they have high melting point. They have high boiling point. Temperature is around 200 to 300, which is too much. And taste, we have discussed about they are tasteless, sweet or bitter. So, what is the final conclusion in this topic? What is the final conclusion? That today we discuss about different kinds of protein. Okay, today we discuss about different kinds of protein. Okay, in that we discuss about different nature of proteins, their chemical structure of proteins we discuss, types of amino acids we discuss. Okay, so what I told, we should remember also the name of different kinds of amino acids. We discuss about that. Then we discuss about their functional groups. Those carbon atom which are having amino acids called as alpha amino acid. Carbon is called as alpha carbon atom. Then we discuss based on the polarity 4 types: non-polar, polar, polar amino acids, polar with negative charge. Those amino acids which are positively charged, they are basic in nature. Those amino acids which are negatively charged, they are acidic in nature. Okay, those amino acids that are positively charged, they are basic in nature. Those amino acids which are negatively charged, they are acidic in nature. Okay, so what we have to do, you have to just remember the category, their solubility. After that, we discuss about 2 types: essential, non-essential. Essential are those which are not synthesized by the body. They are how many number? They are 9 in number. Non-essential amino acids which are synthesized by the body. They are how many? They are 11. Total 20. One amino acid, that is proline, it is called amino acid, not amino acid, because it is disturbs the shape of amino acid. Then comes cysteine, cysteine, newly discovered amino acid, which is used in the gene expression studies. Then we discuss about basic physical properties of proteins. We have seen the structure of these different amino acids. Minor difference of structure, like glycine is simplest amino acid. These are aromatic, phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan. They are called as aromatic amino acids because they bear some ring-like structure. Then acid positive structure, positively charged. Example: lysine, arginine, and histidine. They are basic amino acids. Negatively charged, they are acidic. They are also called as dicarboxylic monoamino acids. Example: aspartate, glutamate. Then we'll discuss about essential, non-essential. These are 9, these are 11. Then we discuss about zwitterion. What is zwitterion? Those amino acids which do not have any charge, they are neutral. They are called as zwitterions. Why they occurs? Because there is a transformation or dissociation of hydrogen ion from carboxylic to the amino group. So the amino acids having both positive and negatively charged, they are called zwitterions. The net charge is zero. The net charge is zero, and that point where the charge is zero is called as isoelectric point. That charge where that point is zero is called as isoelectric point. But when keep in the solution, acidic will be positively charged and alkaline will be negatively charged. So these are the different we discuss about amino acids. Okay. So I hope you could understand better about different properties of amino acids. So thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. So today we will discuss about some important biological role of proteins. So as we discussed that protein is one of the most diverse macromolecule which is called as basic building blocks of the body. We discuss about different types of protein and we discuss about their classification based on availability, based on their polarity, and we discuss about how many amino acids are there, about their structure. Last point, we discuss about what are the biological importance of proteins. What is the need of proteins to carry out various metabolic activities in our body. So first of all, proteins are the important part of the plasma membrane. They act as the channels so that they can help in the transport of various solute and chemicals. So they regulate the transfer of many substances across the cell membrane. Basically, all the acceptors which are present on the plasma membrane, their nature is protein only. And also discuss about the importance of various enzymes which are used in various biochemical reaction. All enzymes are basically proteins in nature. And in the immune system, when we talk about antigens, antibodies, so all antibodies, they are also protein in nature. And in our basic physiological system, like we talk about various hormonal regulation, endocrine regulation, reproduction, respiration, proteins are also their important role. So some hormones are also proteins in nature. For example, insulin, which is used in the prevention of diabetes, and some growth hormones like somatotropin. Okay, they are also protein in nature. So these are the main biological roles of protein in the daily routine. However, some proteins also act as a protective agent. The best example is keratins. Keratin are normally present in the skin, hair, and nails of the human body, which make the skin resistant to various chemicals. Okay, which makes the skin resistant to various chemicals. While some proteins are also supportive. So thus, this protein also act as the protective agent. For example, we discuss about collagen. Collagen is the most abundant proteins in animals. It is normally found in the connective tissues. Also, we talk about hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the main part of the human blood. It is also kind of protein which helps in the transfer of oxygen in the blood. Okay. Then we discuss about muscle protein, that is actin and myosin. So actin and myosin are contractile proteins which are found in muscle cells. Okay, actin and myosins are contractile proteins which are found in muscle cells, and they are responsible for muscular contraction. Okay, and they are responsible for muscular contraction. So this we can say that the proteins have importance everywhere, in all kind of physiological metabolism. Besides that, amino acids are converted to other nitrogenous substances which are of great physiological importance. Okay, amino acids are converted to other nitrogenous bases which are of great physiological importance, like creatinine, histamine, purines, pyrimidines. Purines and pyrimidines are important part of nucleic acid. Okay, purines and pyrimidines are important part of nucleic acid. Then we discuss about various other functions of protein, like catalytic function. Nearly all chemical reactions in biological system are basically catalyzed by certain enzymes. They also help in transport and storage of various important molecules. For example, hemoglobin helps in the transport of oxygen in the blood. Myoglobin carries and stores oxygen in the muscle. Albumin transports free fatty acids in blood. Transferrin, very important protein which helps the transport of iron in the blood. The protein also helps in the coordinated motion of our body. They maintain the body posture and locomotion. In that, basically, there are two proteins like actin and myosin, which are called as contractile protein, and they are basically present in the muscle. Okay. So besides that, protein also helps in the main transport and storage of various important gases and molecules in the body to maintain various physiological system. Then besides that, other uses are also there. They are the main structural and mechanical support they provide. Collagen is a fibrous protein in skin and bone, which is used as a connective tissue. They help in the defense function. They help in the clotting factors also. Thus, they prevent loss of blood. Thus, they help in the clotting factors and they prevent loss of blood. Various immunoglobulins, they protect against infection. Okay, various immunoglobulins, they protect against infection. Then generation and transmission of nerve impulse, they also help in maintaining the nervous system also, regulation of nervous system also. There are some receptor proteins which act as neurotransmitters. There are some receptor proteins which act as neurotransmitters. For example, acetylcholine, which are responsible for transmitting nerve impulse. Which are responsible for transmitting nerve impulse. Besides that, they help in the control of growth and differentiation. Besides that, they help in the process of growth and differentiation. The activities of different cells, they are coordinated by hormones. The activities of different cells, they are coordinated by hormones. Many hormones are polypeptide in nature and are proteins in nature, like insulin, which is used in the prevention of diabetes, and thyroid stimulating hormone, which is used to maintain the thyroid level in our body. So, in every aspect, we can say that because of their diverse in nature, the functioning of protein is very, very different. They have diverse amount of functions in every part of the living system. So, some proteins are present in the edible items like foods. They also help in maintaining the balance in the body. For example, like different amino acids, peptides, and proteins, they are important part of food. They supply the required building blocks for protein biosynthesis. Besides that, they contribute to the different flavor of food, and they are precursor of various aroma compounds. Aroma compounds are those compounds which provide the fragrance and the nutrition in the edible items, and they are having good biological importance. They contribute with other food compounds like carbohydrates to colors formed during thermal or enzymatic reactions in the production, processing, and storage of food. They contribute with other food compounds such as carbohydrates to colors formed during thermal or enzymatic reactions in production, processing, and storage of food. Protein also contribute to the physical properties through their ability to build or stabilize gels, foams, emulsions, and fibrillary structures. The nutritional energy value of proteins is as high as that of carbohydrates. Okay, the nutritional energy value of proteins is as high as that of carbohydrates. That is 17 kilojoule per gram or 4 kilocalorie per gram. Energy value is almost same. Okay, so this is another aspect of functions of protein that can also assist in the various food items. Then we discuss about what are the sources for the food proteins, how we can obtain the food proteins from the diet. So the most important source of protein are grains, oilseeds, legumes, followed by mutton and milk. All these are very good source of protein. Besides that, in addition to plants and animals, we can also consume proteins from algae like chlorella, spirulina. These are also the edible algae, yeast, and bacteria, which contains many single cell protein. Bacteria of like Pseudomonas in aqueous methanol produce about 0.3 ton of proteins per ton of alcohol. Okay, so Pseudomonas bacteria is having very unique property that in the aqueous methanolic solution, they produce about 0.3 ton of protein per ton of alcohol. So some products are rich in protein, which also result from the other process. Some proteins are rich in protein, which are also produced by other processes. Example in the oil and the starch production. The protein concentration and protein isolates, they act to enhance the nutritive value and to enhance the physical properties of foods. So they are added in the traditional foods like meat and cereal products. But they are also used in the production of novel food items like meat and milk. So means we can obtain the protein from different kinds of sources. All kind of living organisms are just how different source of proteins. That's why we call it the most diverse macromolecule in the nature, because it can be obtained from different kind of sources. It can provide, it helps in different kind of functions. Very important functions are there. Okay, so protein is one of the